postnatal breastfeeding class. Today I am going to talk about weaning or to stop feeding. Some people, they would understand it better. Maybe they don't speak English, or it's just they don't know the word weaning. So basically, we're going to I'm going to give you some tips on how to stop breastfeeding. And it is something that a mom, if you're pregnant, you can still watch. I mean, I'm not going to say you can't watch it, but like I had mentioned in the other ones, I just don't want you to worry about things so far ahead yet. But if you want to watch it, it's something that interests you because maybe you don't know if you want to breastfeed because of the weaning part of it. So maybe learning a little bit about that part will kind of like help you make your decision a little bit better, whether you want to or you don't want to, based on the information. So I've made this video already twice, and I've had to delete it because it's way too long, and there's no way I could edit it to even be shorter without cutting the things I'm saying. So what I'm going to make sure to do is, as I am telling you 1, 2, 3, I am going to have it on the screen. It will either be here or there. I'm not sure where it will be, but it will be there. And check if you like the video and if it helped you, and share it with others. And please take a moment to subscribe. I have so many different topics that I talk on. Breastfeeding is mainly just a small part of it because watch my intro video. I'm going to put a link to that as well, just so that you can kind of get to know why I've started doing YouTube and why I've chosen the video series that I've chosen. My name is Get Real Mommy, like my YouTube name is Get Real Mommy. And the reason is because I have 4 children. We are middle class. We don't make a lot. I now have to deal with health issues and cannot work. So, to me, there's some things that just aren't possible for some of us out there. Some moms can, they can afford to do things that we can't. So in my mind, it's like I used to say to myself, get real. I can't do that. My circumstances don't make that even realistic even. So that's why I call myself Get Real Mommy. And some of my videos from probably this video on out, I'll be calling it, okay, it's time for us to get real. And that's not going to be the breastfeeding stuff. So just so you know, that. And already I'm talking way too much at 3 minutes. So let me just kind of get right to it. So tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to don't ask, don't offer. And I'm actually getting it off of my phone. One of the CLCs actually said, I'm going to take my hat off and ask you guys questions and get your tips because I need to wean. So it depends on each child. Every mother and baby, couplets we call it, they're all different. And so what might work for your baby may not work for another, and what works for them may not work for you. So these tips, you're going to find at least 1 or 2 that work with your baby. It might not be all of them, or it could be all of them, or you might find another tip somewhere, which I said I'll do some research and put a link below so you can do some reading as well. So here's the tips. So number 1 was don't ask, don't offer. So what that means basically, and I know you know what it means, is if the baby isn't asking for it, don't offer it. Even if it's their normal time, like nap time comes around, don't offer it. But if they ask it, say, like if it's early morning, you could say, well, I'm going to feed you at nap time. Are you ready to take a nap now? You can say that. If they feel sort of like they're involved, they're negotiating, I have found it works a lot better. I did it with my one son. It was so hard to train him. I have some crazy videos of him. It was so hard. And I had to literally make him feel like and I will even do it to my kids now. I'll say, okay, you need to do your homework, do your chores before you do anything else. So it needs to be done before you go to bed. What time do you want to start? And that makes them, they'll do it because they got to choose the time and so forth. So don't ask, don't offer. If they don't want it, you just skip it, And another thing that I want to quickly add is that it really also depends, these tips, on how fast you want to wean. If you want to wean really quickly, like literally say, okay, no more after today, it's going to be different. I mean, you can still use these tips, but these tips would be more like you're doing a gradual basis. And if you're weaning other than you want to, or it's time, then think about, do you have to start weaning now? Can you start just slowly decreasing the feeds? And that is actually another tip, is to, and I'm not going to say that one yet, because number 2 is to get out of the house. So I'll get back to the other one I was just talking about. To get out of the house. So number 2 is to get out of the house. So keep the baby busy. Get him out, or her, playing, and take him to a spot that is hard to breastfeed. So let's say you're at the park and they're playing and they come up to you and they want to feed. You'll say, well, I'll feed you when we get home. Are you ready to go home now? You know, again, you're using that, you're questioning them and letting them answer and say when they want it. The other one, this is very hard to say, it's easier said than done, is to not sit down. And in some instances, I can say that's easy, because I don't know that any mom out there that has small children sits down. You know, it's like when you do get to sit down, it's like, oh, you know, you sit down, and usually it's not till dad comes in or somebody comes in that can help with the child. So that they say, because basically the same rule is you're keeping the baby busy. If you sit down, that's when the baby's going to come up and want to start feeding, because it just automatically reminds them, okay, we're going to feed. And when I mention go somewhere that makes it harder to feed, not to grandma's house or to auntie's house or to a friend's house where you can breastfeed, because, you know, they're going to still ask. But if there's a lot of other kids around, even if you do go to a family and there's kids and they're distracted, that will help as well. So just trying to keep them distracted and trying to keep them out of situations that will remind them of breastfeeding. So the third tip is keep them busy with activities and playing outside. Kind of like what we just said. So you're just going to keep them going. You're going to keep them busy so that they don't think about the feeding. And the not sitting down is what she said is really, really crucial, just not sitting down. And I believe that. I think that is a good point, like a good reminder. Or sit somewhere where maybe it isn't feasible to breastfeed. I can't hold you when I'm in this chair, you know, something like that. Another thing that you can do, which all these tips, you can do them and practice them daily. It's not like you have to just pick one. But another one would be to reduce your nursing sessions. So maybe right now you're nursing in the morning and at lunch and at dinner. Make his or her favorite feeding time the last one you cut out. So start like cutting out ones that, you know, they really don't need it or want it, and you can like distract them. Sometimes you can have your partner take over the bedtime routine or nap routine, so that you get to say, okay, mommy's going to kiss you goodnight. I'll see you in the morning. And if the baby wants to eat, you say, okay, when the sun comes out, mommy's going to feed you. So you're kind of like giving the baby, you know, time, and then also a choice of what they want. And I think that's really cool. I don't even know what number I'm on now. 5, 6, is to limit the frequency and duration and location, which we know we've already talked about. But one piece of advice was, say, I'm going to count to 10. You can breastfeed till I get to 10 or whatever you want to say. And then you have to go play with your cars, or you go watch, you know, Mickey Mouse, or, you know, like tell them what you're going to do. And then they're like, okay, again, you're conversing with them. You're not just saying, nope, I'm not feeding you. We're done, empty, you know, broken. One mom put a Band-Aid on her nipple and said it's broken, you know, which is okay. But what I'm saying is, you know, you can just limit it and count it and say, okay, you know, time's up. Now you got to go play, that kind of thing. So just limit how often you do it and how long you're doing it for. Because, you know, and I guess I should add a little point in here, and that's that this is if the baby's over 6 months old, and you're prepared, like if they're under 6 years or 6 months, you're prepared to use formula, because baby can't have regular milk till a year old. So this is really dependent on a baby that's older, that's closer to that 12-month mark, because you're going to have to replace your breastfeeding with a bottle or something when they're small, and they're counting the nursing as a feed, not as just that comfort that they will eventually be doing once they hit 12 months, you know, and more. So definitely, you know, follow those pieces of advice. If you have any other questions, please comment below. I will try to put some links down there. And I will also have the tips written so you can see them. I think that all these tips are great. But if you are not ready to wean, get help. If it's because something, you know, maybe it's the baby's all of a sudden refusing it, and you know, because that could be because they're sick or something, or maybe you're feeling pressured by people, so you just need some extra support. But if you're just making the decision, no matter how old the child is, if you're making the decision you're done, then you know, that's fine, you're done, and you can start using these tips, and you'll find that they work for you. And if you come up with something that is not on here that you want to share with everybody, or something that you've tried, you already have done this and you've tried, share it, please. Comment and share it with everybody so that they have more things to look at and ways to make the weaning or the breastfeeding easier to stop. I hope that like helps you guys a little bit. I know it's a very popular question. And I just have to commend you for breastfeeding at all, because we know, although it's the most natural, it still takes practice and learning, and it's not easy. I mean, there are things that are easier about it than formula, but there's other things that aren't. I mean, you have to stop whatever you're doing. For one whole year, you are tied to that baby. Every time they need to feed, you have to sit down, stop what you're doing and feed, or you can use the wraps and let them feed while your hands are free, which is a video I can show you how to make a wrap. If anybody's interested, comment below. I'll do a video on that. Or hit like, and if there's a lot of likes, I'll know that that's what you guys want, and I will be sure to make a video on that. But yes, you can do a wrap as well, and they can breastfeed that way, but just, it depends on how you're feeling. But I want you to feel good, no matter if you're weaning because you're just tired of it now. You did it. You did a great job, even if it was for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It doesn't matter. You made a good choice to breastfeed at all. Now, of course, I'm an advocate and I promote breastfeeding, and I want the moms to get to the recommended ages, which is 6 months up to a year, and even to 2 years, they recommend it. And the reason for that, because we know they're not feeding anymore, the reason for that is you're continuing to give them antibodies that help them fight viruses and such. So they have found that a 2-year-old who breastfeeds is healthier than a 2-year-old that doesn't, just because he has that extra boost of, you know, antibodies to fight, and this baby doesn't have quite as much. And that's the same with, you could stop at 1 year and the 2-year be healthier than this one. But that doesn't mean in all cases, you know, I mean, I would say the hardest thing is transferring to formula because of the constipation and colic. That was a little difficult for me, but they preferred, you know, and that's where the baby-led weaning comes. And that's what I would recommend is use some, if you're not in a hurry, let the baby lead you, but you're kind of like influencing it a little bit, like not offering it, keeping them busy, And then the baby kind of does it on their own. And if they're really, really persistent that they want it, it might not be a good time to wean. You might want to wait maybe another 2 weeks or another month and then try again. So 15 minutes long. I got to stop it now. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that it answers your questions. Please take the time to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and I will see you guys again at our next breastfeeding class, video, however you want to call it. Bye, guys.